Hello Gearspace, this is Sebastian. I'm here today at Superbooth24 to introduce the new Arturia Polybrute 12. So it's our new analog polysynth. It is, in a nutshell, Polybrute, which was announced 3 years ago with a massive voice upgrade with 12 voices instead of 6 and a completely new Arturia design MPE Keybed. And the combination of these makes it like one of the most, if not the most expressive analog polysynth that you can find. It's a beautiful instrument. We're going to listen to it a bit. First, let's just talk a little bit about what it is. So, as you know, it's the same voice as Polybrute, so that means it has 2 oscillators for each voice. With waveform morphing, a wave folder for the first one, and a sub-oscillator for the second. You have 2 filters, ladder and a Steinbrecher. You have 3 envelopes, 3 LFOs, and this modulation matrix over here, which lets you work with modulations very quickly, very efficiently to assign modulation routings. You have 32 studio-grade effects, a sequencer. So this is the sound and the modulation. It's already a very, very powerful instrument in its own self. Now, another particularity of Polybrute is morphing. All the sounds of Polybrute are actually made of 2 sounds that morph from one to the other with this morph control. And like all the knobs move, but also a lot of the settings can actually morph from one to the other. That's also a very, very unique aspect of this instrument. And the third thing is how expressive it is. You know, first with this ribbon controller and this morphe pad down here, which is a XYZ touch sensor that also can be used for morphing between the 2 sounds. All right. So this is what Polybrute is capable of. And now Polybrute 12, well, first it adds more voices. So what can we do with more voices? We can have pads that decay without stealing voices. You can do bigger unisons. You know, let's just listen like to this pad, for instance. Right, so you can have big sound. It's also possible to do just simple bass tones like this. Polybrute is very capable at simple tones as well. This kind of sound, which are actually using a layer. Polybrute is a duophonic instrument. It can duotimbral, I mean, and you can do layering of 2 sounds. And this patch, for instance, is creating a bigger sawtooth pad with 2 voices as a layer. So this is what you can do with 12 voices. Now, the other big difference between Polybrute and Polybrute 12 is this Keybed. Let's give it a look. What we designed this Keybed in-house. What we wanted to do was to provide a premium feel in terms of just playability with a synth action Keybed. And also, we wanted to provide polyphonic aftertouch. Now, the way we have developed this Keybed allows us to do a lot more than polyphonic aftertouch, and we'll go into that. But first, let's listen to how it can sound in polyphonic aftertouch mode. Let's listen to this patch, for instance. Right, this is the kind of sound, just simple, like, you know, very CSAT inspired patches where each voice can get its own movement with aftertouch. So I press the key, I have a regular key press, and then as I push down, I have this modulation. Now, another thing that can be done is the way this Keybed works is we know the position of the key on the entire key span. So we have these full touch modes where as I slightly touch the key, I'm getting a signal. I'm triggering the voice right at the beginning of the key, and then the entire key span is used for modulation. You know, another example of that would be this, where pressing just slightly move the sound and then. And compared to regular polyphonic aftertouch, because of course this is polyphonic, compared to regular polyphonic aftertouch, I have a lot more accuracy because I have the entire key position to do this movement, so I can really be precise where I stop and how I control the sound. So that's the first mode, which is called FullTouch. The second mode is FullTouch plus Z, and what it does is instead of using just one signal as I press, which was just aftertouch, now we split it in two. So the first section is still aftertouch, but then as I press more into at the bottom of the key, I can feel the second section where I have a spring that gives me feedback. And then I have another effect. So all of this is of course programmed through the matrix. You know, so let's listen to a few patches that use this for. This or. All right, so this is the second mode, FullTouch plus Z, so splitting the key in two sections. The third one is very different. What it does is it just completely changes how we work with envelopes, with the ADSR envelopes. The ADSR envelopes, instead of responding to a gate signal that is just key on, key off, like they normally do, now they respond to the continuous position of my key. Well, basically the aftertouch, but on the entire key. So what that means is, as I push the key, you know, like for instance, my attack controls when I push the key how long it takes to rise, for the sound to rise. So if I have no attack, the sound just basically follows my finger. If I have a lot of attack, it takes a lot more time for the sound to rise. And it's the same with the decay. Decay just controls when I release, how long it takes to die. The sustain is when it's up, the sound will not go down, it just stays up even if I release my finger. And the release is basically just an envelope release. So with no release, we only have the effect. And what that means is, even without programming anything in the matrix, just by using the filters, the filter envelope amount, and controlling with these sliders, I can have some very, very, very expressive patch, basically just no need to rely on the matrix, just working with this. Same thing with the velocity sliders. The two velocity sliders here control how the patch will respond to velocity. So if I press the key slowly, I get this legato feel where it follows my finger. But if I pluck the key, it's going to give me this plucky feel. It's going to ping the envelope. Right, let's listen to maybe a few more patches in this FullTouch envelope mode. Lava lamp, for instance. The patches, like these patches, are quite very static. If I just not move my finger, I have a very static sound, but then it's really with how I play that I give the sound so much motion. I love it. I love this how this dynamic effect, you know, and these two sounds I showcase right now are very cinematic. You know, it's true that it works very well when you have when you leave time for each of the notes to evolve. So, you know, things that are like long cinematic film scoring is very, very great with this Keybed, but it can also do more plucky sounds, you know. But then, if I plug the sound, I get this like shamisen kind of sound. But if I just press the key, I get this completely new vibe. Or I can start with the plug and then have the sound evolve afterwards. And all of that would be done through very complex modulations or automation recording, but now you just basically control it with your finger. And that's, you know, that's the key thing. You know, you have an instrument that you can program with just a very, very versatile polyphonic aftertouch instrument. Polyphonic analog instrument, and then you have this new Keybed that lets you have this expressivity and this control of the instrument, like this very sensorial control of the keys to give you patches like that. Maybe I'll finish with this. We can also use the key position with the arpeggio and as a way for each of the notes to be more dynamic. Let's just play this sound. It's a split sound with the bass arpeggio and some lead. Right. So this is a brief overview of what can be done with Polybrute 12, a beautiful, beautiful instrument with, you know, lots of capabilities in terms of synthesis, but more importantly, an instrument that you can play. You know, a contact with the instrument that is just very, very natural through like these wooden section and these new expressive Keybed. So yeah. I'm happy to be here to announce it. Thank you, Gearspace, and enjoy Superbooth, everyone.